Good morning. Sorry about that. I had to turn the heater off. This is Jolene with AJeweldDesign. And oh my gosh, third week in a row that I'm here to reveal a kit to you guys. And I'm so stoked because I have been doing so much design work that I'm finally starting to be able to release it week after week after week and share with you guys, right? I mean, we did Valentine's in January. We did late January, early February. We did the spring Easter bunny kit. It's spring bunny, but it does really lend itself to Easter. So sorry. I got a little excited, a little overzealous, but I love it. We've done all the little bits and pieces, right? Words and tag sets and number sets. And we did the whole, last week was the Mother's Victorian Rose journal kit, papers, the whole collection, right? And while I was trying to prep and sort of hold off to that one, I was creating this one. Oh my gosh, right? And as I'm showing you this one, I've already started another one. Over the weekend, I got to brainstorm and gather and prep for the next set. And we're really getting into this sort of Victorian feel right now. We're really enjoying the pinks, the blues, the greens, the spring colors, but a little more, not quite antique. We're not going to quite go that far, but close enough. That antique, Victorian, just beautiful spring, right? And spring that's sometimes muted but it's elegant and right? I don't know, been going forever, but I've done it again. I'm here again with another reveal, and hopefully, I don't know if I'll have one next week. I don't know if I can get the news kit ready in a week. I've been known to do them in like 3 days. But if I have one, I will reveal another kit to you next week. If not, there'll be a gap. But we'll be starting a new project, new Journal with Me project, next week. So you'll at least get that one video for sure. So let's get going, right? So this is the Victorian Garden Stroll. Now, I'm considering it a garden stroll because of what you would see in a Victorian garden. The benches, the urns, large, urns full of flowers. The women with their walking dresses and reading their books in the sunshine and the Paris feel and looking up at the houses as you walk by and seeing the windows full of flower boxes and butterflies and I don't know, that was my feel. I went for teal and brown and pink, which sometimes you don't see a lot of pink accented with the teal and the brown, and things just started popping out to me, and so I had to run with it, right? So here's one of our first pages. We're going to start with I'll clear this out a little bit. We're going to start with the actual journal kit. The journal kit consists of 16 papers, or pages, I should say. I think there's actually 10 pages, 3 backgrounds, and 3 muted backgrounds. So there's 3 that are very pale, which you'll see on actually the back of some of the ephemera, and some of these pages that are beautiful to back things with to make it very easy to journal with. And then there's 3 that are not as, they're more like this. They're not as light, but they're great to back things so that you can put your belly bands and your pockets, and you can bring in the pink on the teal on the pink. So there's a good variety of stuff, but there's 10 decorative pages right off the bat. And this is my first one and my favorite. And I feel it definitely presents itself as a potential to be bordered as a cover. It can be presented as your signature in the middle, right? You've got stuff in all 4 corners. You could put words on here. You could do a little bit of layering to it and make it the middle of your signature, okay? Or even the cover and the back cover. I think it has so much potential, right? So I did print one of my pale ones on the back. Here it is. This is one of the 3 paler backgrounds. Pale pink, a little bit of color, or a little bit of design in the back, making it really simple, right? So there we go. So then there's a simplified version of that page, right? Where we sort of remove the pink. You just get to see that sort of monotone imagery of the large, garden urns and the 2 women, which are they're just so sweet. I just adore them. And they're just sitting reading a book, which I love to do out on the grass or underneath a tree during springtime. So it worked. So then there is and for whatever reason, it printed backwards. I got turned around on my pages. So some of these, you sort of want them right side up, and others, it really doesn't matter if you're going to cover it up. Words upside down are pretty cool. I don't really care. I think it's sort of a fun concept. But here's page number 2 of the muted backgrounds. Okay. Then let me make sure we aren't moved too badly. I notice I'm trying to keep my tapes and everything so I know we're staying in focus. Okay, so then here's even simpler, right? So you sort of see that we sort of digress as we go with this. We have it fully decked out, we have it no more pink, and then you have just the background. Okay, and so that's what the back side was, this muted down. This is one of your 3 standard backgrounds, not muted or reduced down. And see, I think I put the exact same page on the back. So you get to see bright, muted. Bright for pockets and belly bands and tucks and all that good stuff. And light to be able to still journal over it when we need to do so. Then we have a similar background, but I removed the lettering from it, right? So it made it a little bit more teal. Still using these urns, which I just loved. I had found 2 of them. Muted out monotone the butterflies. Still have these lovely flowers. And we start adding some hydrangeas to the mix, right? Just a pale little bit of pink to pick up. Now here's the back. So that one then turns into this little more detailed. Instead of using the lettering, I went ahead and used a Venetian fleur-de-lis pattern and white, kept it white and plopped it over. And when it's pale like this, oh, it's a great journal page, I think. Oops, that way, there we go. So then you take this one and we're going to fully decorate it, right? We're going to make it look like it's in the garden. You've got an urn that I turned into sort of like a hanging basket, which actually be really heavy, so maybe not. I found some lace and actually sort of pink toned it. It was a great scan and went ahead and I made it more pink because I didn't really want the white. It would just blend in. I thought the pink was a great accent. And you have that urn now full of flowers surrounded by butterflies. So why wouldn't you see that, of course, in the gardens? And kept the same light muted background. Then I got some pink. We had to have pink, right? So now let's let the teal pop. Put the pink in the background. This actually has a crackled paper with a pink tone to it. We have the Venetian fleur-de-lis over it with our continued elements that we've seen throughout everything. And here are some women in their walking dresses, as they call it, the Victorian walking dress card. Walking dresses dash like antique card. And some of the ephemera that I wanted to use in here because of their coloring and was sort of in the background, but I felt they still needed their place, right? I needed it for the embellishments, I needed it for, other elements, and they just went really well color-wise. So then on the back, again, we see that really pale pink version. Then here is your not muted background in pink, where you get it nice and bright, and again, great to help layer up with your pockets and your tags, your belly bands, journal cards, I mean, anything you can think of, right? You have to have your background pages to help layer up on outside of your decorative, and kept to the pale pink again. Then here's number 2 for the more decorative pink. I did use the lace on this one. This time I did keep it more white, so I sort of blended in, sort of muted, kept with these lovely flowers, put my hydrangeas back in, kept with some extra or different ephemera. And the girls are a little bit more fussy cutted out and standing there in a different direction to really give you, the potential of a great bottom decor page. Then we go to my vintage windows and with the teals. They actually weren't teal. I had to make them teal. I'm like, those aren't teal. But they were close enough that when I went to go play with the colors, I wasn't going to get something really funky out of it. And they're great. I love this one. It came with a little flower box, and I went ahead and a window box, and I added in the flowers that we've been using because it was just green. And I thought, well, the green's still fine in the background. I love this one. This is a black and white ping file that says greenhouse on it, so it became a nice staple piece. Again, another sort of monotone piece that, like the flowers and the urns, it was something where I didn't have to have a lot of color with it. And I just love this one. This is up like a little bit of Romeo and Juliet, a little bit more, I know it's not so much Victorian, but it was, I looked for vintage windows and doors, and it reminds me a little bit of Romeo and Juliet, and it also reminds me of something you would see in Italy, sort of up in the hill. So it's not, I mean, that's my personal take on it. It might be a little far-fetched for a Victorian house that you're strolling by, but I was looking up vintage elements that had come up. So, I mean, Victorian times is later than vintage, of course. Victorian times is definitely a little bit more antiqued, but I loved the coloring in them, how close they were to the teal, the design of the work on the windows, the wrought iron look. And so, I could still see it in any of, you know, Jane Austen's remade videos. You know, I can still see the windows and the shutters and the boxes and stuff. So I liked how I was able to pop more teal into this one and still have hints of pink. Then, of course, like I did with the others, I monotoned it out so they had that yummy brown tone over them. Opened up the butterfly. Still had a little bit of pink in it like I've done with the others. These hydrangeas became a huge success in accenting just that paleness amount of pink in there. So it wasn't completely missing. But even when I monotone through, you can see, you know, the layers of the distressing of the paper over the wood paintings, you know, the elements behind it. My goal was to really try to get more texture and more elements and more bleed throughs, and that's my biggest struggle. So we go back to some more teal. In this case, we go back to the Venetian fleur-de-lis in the background, and I get to do a pretty bench and a teal birdie, more of the urn closer to the size of the bench, clusters of things. It is a little big on this corner, but at the same time, like, you have another potential for either a middle signature or even a front cover. I mean, why not? Garden Stroll, and you could put a label up here, and, you know, sort of Queen Elizabeth. It reminds me a little bit of a throne, even though it's a Victorian bench. It's so funny. Or a vintage bench, but it still has that ornate feel to it and very regal and elegant, and, you know, it actually might be a little too fancy for an outdoor bench, but I liked it. I thought it was really pretty. So we have our girls back. We still have our butterflies. We have this pretty little bird on the bench, you know, waiting for its next visitor. And then we get to simplify it again. And where I guess these are definitely larger, but that's the only thing, like the urns, where it's just that monotone color of a brownish gray that is sitting on top of the teal. Okay. But it leaves you room to really add your own. You can take any of the embellishments and stuff and layer it up and add a little bit more to it if you want color on every page, or you need the lighter pages where there's not so much going on and you can, you know, use it. I really hope that you guys get inspired by it. And then the last full-blown colored background page is this one. So where you get to see just the teal and the Venetian, you know, compared to the other ones. So oh my gosh, right? So 16 pages. It's a lot. It's a lot. I got to a point where I was getting a little crazy. But when you're enjoying what you're doing and you're enjoying the kit, how can you not, right? So there's the 16 pages, very exclusive preview. These are up for sale. They came up last night, like I always do. I try to release them the night before so that when you get to see the video, the moment the video is released to you, you can go find these, and the links will be directly below in the comments. Okay, now, those 16 pages, though, do not come by themselves, of course. They come with 5 pages of fussy cut and ephemera. Not a huge amount. I went for more of the 80 bigger pieces for this one to go with your pages. And because I felt this was pretty much a very delicate ordeal. And let's make sure. Okay, good. My husband just texted me and I was like, oh, please tell me you didn't just pop through. So, first page of mini, not mini embellishments. These would be just your fussy cuts. This would be your smaller ephemera pieces, cards, you know, dictionary pages sort of decorated up, the postcard that was in there, just the, you know, urns. If you wanted to add them to more pages, you could fussy cut them out and add them to any of the pages. Couple coins, right? Smaller butterflies, little butterfly stamps, the signature, that little Paris stamp signature. And then the girls, of course, in their full card form in both of them. So you can either cut it at an angle or leave it with the colored corners. So I gave you some small pieces to work with. Now I did, like I said, this one I did not, because I felt for the most part this would be cut out and glued down. But the rest of them I did use that wonderful light pale backgrounds for all these things to back them with. So I went ahead and just did a variety where it'd be pink, it'd be teal, or the teal wood and cream, you know, on the back of all of these, because some of them are cards, tags, envelopes, and you need to be able to see the other side of them. So you have your flags, your bordered labels, and your tabs. We have a, you know, the coined envelope, which can be very creative and find other ways to use it. I had an idea for them when I first saw them, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun. And I don't remember. Oh, it was like a mini bookie thing. I like pulling things apart. And then you do have a sheet of mini embellishments. So like we did with my spring bunny kit, when I did the 2 pages of mini embellishments, I gave you a page of those, right? So we have this that's sort of like that second page where it's sort of larger fussy cuts, but still some small pieces. And then you got smaller pieces. And I'm actually maybe going to turn it sideways. They're a little bit of both. They both go vertical and horizontal on these. So I made the smaller cards, right? These little journal, then you can use them as tiny journal cards or use them as pockets, as you saw. If you're following me in my sepia journal, mini journal kit, you can use them, like I said, as journal cards. You can layer up with them. You got all these cute little squares, which we use them as sort of like stamps and stuff, and we layered up with those. And then you have just like that's a little bit of the lace. This is just a piece of this flower. Anything we did sepia, I sort of changed in different pieces. I give you some vertical, which is sort of different, more vertical rectangles instead of always just horizontal. Maybe that helps to stick into something a little smaller, or layer up with things, or you have that little one and that little one. But again, just little mini embellishments to help you layer up on. So on each side you have the sepia sort of variation of pink or in teal to layer with, whether it's the top layer or whether it's under, you layer one of these little guys up and over the corner of something. So I thought that'd be fun to have some really, some smaller pieces to go with it. But then I also continued on with my triangle corner pockets, my standard, scalloped horizontal pockets, some washi bands. A little thick for washi, but a little thin for belly bands, or somewhere in between, right? And you could still even cut these in half for 2 washi bands if you wanted to just border some cards and stuff with it. Of course, I made some stamp imagery with the urns. Of course, another coin. And then gave you just a quick sample of your standard tags and cards that I normally do, right? You've got the large tag, medium, and small. And then you have my normally 4-up and my 6-up, journal card. Okay. Now, if for some reason this is not enough and you want a full kit, right, to do everything you possibly want to do with it to make a full journal on its own, I've got 2 more pieces that I'm selling separately that you can add to this kit. Okay, it's still garden stroll. It's still going to be the Victorian garden stroll. But now we have a Victorian garden stroll floral pattern papers, which is my new favorite thing. And I went ahead and made 8 pattern papers for you. Created 2 new clusters of all the flowers that we used within the kit, and put them on a background. And you get the 2 background pages, which are the pink hydrangeas, which were sort of a last minute entity, and they became so much. So you have this beige crackled paper with a really pale pink hydrangeas over them. And then you have this awesome, now this can go vertical or horizontal, which both of them can. They can both go horizontal or vertical, which is great. But I took the wood and I washed the urn details over that. And I put the crackled paper washed in and out. And this was one of my favorites, creating this little background. I'm like, that is so cool. I love when Photoshop does really cool little tidbits and I play with things. So anyway, you have a teal papered, or teal background page. Different from the other ones, but where we have that wood that's been painted and distressed. You have a shadow of the long lines of the urn in the background, and then the crackled paper, crackled parched distressed paper that has been, sort of stamped over the top. And then, like I said, you have the crackled paper with the really pale pink hydrangeas over that. Okay, so everything ended up on these pattern papers. Everything ended up on one of these 2. So we'll start off with this cluster where I had them. Is this the big one or the little one? Okay, this is the big one. So I did a nice, large spread out pattern over the pink. And then I shrunk them and sort of turned them horizontal, but really the direction is not really necessary either way. But you could use this as a page to back some of the pages. You could use this paper to back them, or just use it for scrapping. But I made them smaller and closer together, so we had a little bit more condensed. Then I turned the hydrangeas and turned them teal. And I like it, but I think I like the pink better on this one. But it was still really pretty, and so I didn't make this a background because it was sort of temperamental. But it looks really pretty here, and I thought, okay, that makes these pink flowers pop so much more on the teal background, right? And I did go with the larger print when I did the teal one. Then I go to these, and this is like my other favorite. I love these pink clusters on this teal background. Oh my gosh. Now I did rotate these in each direction. So this page could go any way you wanted. It didn't matter. They were all facing different directions. So you didn't have to worry about the fussy cut of it when you were putting it on the back of anything. You could never print wrong on the back of these, right? And then I did shrink them. I made them smaller and more condensed. So you had a tighter pattern paper, which I think I like the other one better size-wise. But this still really makes great for great scrapbooking or scrap paper, scrap pieces to collage with, to add to the back of things. It has so much potential. And then I made it pink. So I kept it the same. Those are upside down. Technically they're upside down. But so I did the teal version, and then I kept the small one and did the pink background. I turned that teal page more pink. So you really have pink on pink if you want it, or you keep it to the teal and pink, right? You have the two options, depending what you're doing with it. Then you have the ability to have a little teal behind these cream and pink flowers, but they look just as great though, small on the pink and, you know, pink on pink. So you have options. You can use all of it, you can use half of it, but you had both ways and two different floral clusters that came with, that was in the Garden Stroll. So we now have the Victorian Garden Stroll floral patterns that you can purchase if you need more backing, scrapping, whatever you need to do, right? You have some more pieces to enhance and sort of fill out the pages and backgrounds to the kit. And this kit ended up being, if I put it all together, would have been crazy, right? I had 5 pages over there on 5 ephemera pages within the journal kit, and I created another 8. So I think we were up to what, 12, 13 ephemera pages, because every time we turned around, me and Vintage Paper Girl kept wanting other things, right? We wanted envelopes, we wanted this, we wanted that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this was going to be like a 30-page kit. And I was like, that's just so much. And I know you guys are on a budget, or not even on a budget, but like only want to spend so much on a kit, right? So I thought, well, let me give you a little bit of a taste of these guys within the journal kit. We'll put pattern papers aside. If you really need extra, you can decide if you want those extra pieces. And then I was going to give you the large ephemera set. Okay, now these are all your tags, your journal cards, your envelopes, and all the sizes I could give you. Okay, washi, and the belly bands. I don't think there's any. There might be one washi tape in this one. Mostly belly bands. There's a file folder piece. I mean, we have it all in here. Everything I normally create, like everything I could possibly create, ended up like in here. So the small ephemera stayed to the journal kit, and you could do the larger ephemera if you wanted more pieces all on your own. Okay. Some people will print my pages and put them on cardstock and cut them and create their own tags. Others are like, I don't want to fuss with that. Plus, I can enlarge it. I can zoom in. I can enlarge out. I can do all kinds of things when I put them in here, when I paginate them in. So, you know, let's go. So here we go with our medium tags, right? Didn't put them super close together. I didn't know they would really work as a 3-fold, which is a tri-fold, but there's 4 pieces, so I don't know, it's quad-fold, I guess. But they are gorgeous, right? We have all this. We have some of our favorite imagery. We've got pink in every one of them. You've got teals in every one of them. We have our mini tags with our cute scallops on them. These are more like little price tag type feels. We put the little hole punches in them. But you got your pink, you have your teal, and you have a little bit more of the beige and teal, right? So you have a little bit of a nice balance of all of those. And I did back them with the paler, the 3 paler backgrounds. Then you have your 4-up, your large 4-up cards. I'm afraid they all are horizontal. I just realized that. But when your pages are, built horizontally, I could have swapped these, I guess. I didn't even think about that. I'll see what I did with the other ones. I could continue. I could create so much more. I could turn this on its side, and you have your, either one of these is more horizontal or vertically, positioned. But the design part of this can go on forever. So I'm like, I could create hundreds of elements. So you have your 4-up, and with more in the teals, right? Then you have your 3 large tags. Again, you can do the trifold thing with a thick washi or skinny belly band. Okay, so you have 2 pinks and a teal, which I put pink on the back of that one. Then I did do 4 pink. So the other ones seem very teal based with pink accents, and these are pink. So if you're much more shabby chic feel, more pink feel with the creams and the green and with the browns and the creams, then these were more to your suiting out of this kit. And so we did a pink set along with the teal set of the larger 4-up journal cards, which then I didn't pick this because I randomly went ahead and printed these. Ended up with a teal on the back. How funny is that? Well, okay. Then I did a larger, much larger, okay, washi belly band. Or belly band, I should call it a washi belly band. And went for the simpler backgrounds to give you 6 journal cards that you could layer up on, right? Take the mini ephemera, take the fussy cuts, and sort of decorate up your cards to put in to any pockets and tucks that you have in your journal. I did 2 mini envelopes, okay, which, I don't know. Ooh, if you trim it down a little bit, these will fit in there. I goofed on that. I didn't even look to see if they would fit. I was not paying attention. They do fit in. So you may have to trim, though, a little bit on the top and bottom so you have them to fit, though. Or you fold this down differently. That's my bad. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll fix that. So I will maybe go enlarge these just a smidge and get them in the kit. Sometimes it's great when I'm filming this a little earlier, I get time to fix things. Because the whole goal is to get these cards into these envelopes, right? So that when there's stuff. So I will make that addition. I'll make these I just need to make them a smidge bigger. Not by much, maybe 10%. And these cards will fit in these envelopes. See, thank you. You saw something. You caught it for me. Right? No. Yeah. You're like, yeah, you're cute. So anyway, the cards will fit in these cute little mini envelopes, right? So we have my favorite image, of course, portrayed. And then one of the window ones that we pick up some more teal in it, too. They actually have pink on the back. There is your mini file folder sort of folded imagery. And where you can create it and put it in your little mini ephemera boxes. If you use the file folder type covers, you can make it a mini cover. So that gets tucked into with the papers. You get the pattern papers, cut them up, make pages out of them, sew it into the folder. It's a little mini journal that you can tuck into any element of in your journal. More belly bands to offset whatever page you're using, right? A little more teal, a little more pink. And then my larger envelope, which should, sometimes you forget about these things you create for so often. You go, did you fix that problem? I'm hoping that, oh yeah, yes. So my large cards do fit inside my large envelope. Good. Oh, that would have been sad. So I did change this up a little, made it a little bit more personal again. I found a pretty simple envelope way back when, and my only complaint was that this flap on the back side was so close to the top that you had a hard time getting into it, tucking stuff into it, pulling some stuff out of it. So instead of making just a single thumb notch, area, I made a triple, right? And these fit the 1.5 inch circle punches to make it really easy to cut. You cut across the bottom, then you go up and you line up your hole punch, your 1/2 inch circle punch, with each one of these. Do the middle first and then do your outsides. And you go just beyond the line so that you don't have that line left over, but you have a nice clean line to line up with. And you have this great inner scallop, inverted scallop, I guess. And then you have your external scallop now on the flap. This was a request by Vintage Paper Girl and a couple other ladies who wanted a little bit more detail to the flap instead of just my little notch and big old hump, right? Could we get a little bit more flair, a little bit more elegant, and a little bit more girly with this kit and with this whole design kit? So we went ahead and did this gorgeous five scallop flap for the top of the envelope, and you still have your 3-hole thumb detail to the inner flap, so that when you go to pull things in and out, you can easily grab it and put them in and out and not feel like you're destroying anything and you're not losing control of whatever you're inserting. And then of course these flaps line up beautifully with this, so it makes it for a really easy envelope to use. I'm loving it. I made them smaller when I was doing it for all the my mini December dailies. I took them and just made them just right so that my little December dailies would fit inside them, and this made it so much easier to get things in and out of. So I'm just stoked to have the new edition up here, and that we get to, I'm probably way too far up, so we get to have some new details, and we need to distress that a little bit, especially in a pink distress or even a vintage photo distress. Oh my gosh, it's gonna look so pretty. So here is 8 more pages of large ephemera, tags, cards, and envelopes. And to help expand any and all needs for this Victorian garden stroll. So there you go. You have 16 pages and 5 ephemera pieces in the journal kit. Then you have the possibility of adding 8 more pages of ephemera, right? Nice and large, and all the different styles that are all decked out for you. You don't have to do much to them. And you have the potential of 8 pattern papers, with, well, 6 pattern papers and 2 more backgrounds, that'll let you expand on all your needs for this journal kit, right? We've got it all. We've got it all. Because a large kit like this would be easily over 40 pages, and, you know, that gets a little pricey. I'm still in a part where I wish I could charge nothing for these guys, but it is my small business, and, I have to see, if this has the potential to be a full-time income for me in the future when absolutely necessary. So, I hope you love these. I hope they inspire something within you as we come into spring little by little. We are now in March, so yay. I know some trees around here are starting to show blooms, especially the fruit trees. They're starting to show blooms, whether they're supposed to or not. They're trying for spring. They are going, we're here, we're ready to go. Let's get at it. So why not stroll through the garden, watch things bloom as spring arrives, and enjoy every creative moment we get. So thanks for joining me and following along with this newest reveal with the Victorian Garden Stroll. And I hope to see you next week with maybe another reveal, but definitely a brand new project with a journal with me. And we'll be finishing our first ever series and project this Thursday. So definitely jump back on. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe if you came across me by accident. If you're already subscribed, please like this if this gave you any inspiration. Really appreciate all your views, your likes, your subscriptions. It means the world to me. And that you'll continue to join me in this wonderful journey. So have a great day. Keep creating. Talk to you soon.